Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something truly mind-bending. We are unlocking a cosmic secret, literally looking at a source that completely reimagines ancient history by introducing a figure who supposedly holds the mystic key to the universe. We're going to explore a framework that takes the ancient ruins of the Andes and connects them directly to extraterrestrial visitors and a massive cosmic spiritual hierarchy. Whether you're familiar with these kinds of esoteric texts or entirely new to them, the sheer scale of the narrative we're about to unpack is absolutely captivating. We're looking at the story of an ancient Incan king, but as you'll soon see, the word king barely begins to cover his actual job description. When you look at the primary source material for this, Ryuho Okawa's The True Heart of King Rient Croud, you immediately get hit with this incredible contrast. You've got the iconic earthy ruins of the Andes, a total symbol of lost human history, right? But then, right alongside it, you have the vast, glowing expanse of deep space, just filled with galaxies. And that's not just some random design choice, it's basically the entire thesis of the text. The source posits that what we think of as standard ancient human history is actually the front line of a massive, ongoing cosmic narrative. So here's our roadmap for making sense of this wild framework. We'll examine the nature of this spiritual message, figure out what a branch soul actually is, look at the king's supposed alien interactions in the ancient Andes, break down his teachings of the heart, and finally uncover the absolute cosmic authority he allegedly holds today. All right, kicking things off with part one, the spiritual message of the ancient Incan king. Let's establish exactly how this source material was generated. You see, this isn't your standard archaeological history book, not even close. According to Ryuho Okawa's framework, this publication acts as a direct spiritual channeling. The text asserts that a high-ranking spirit, the spirit of an ancient Incan king who ruled roughly 7,000 years ago, is literally speaking to us in the present day. The book operates on the premise that knowing our deep, spiritual past is the absolute key to understanding our future, especially when it comes to our place in a larger populated universe. It's such a fascinating lens, right? Ancient history delivered not through excavated artifacts, but through reported spiritual communication. Moving into part two, the branch soul of Cantare I. Who exactly is this king in the grand scheme of things? Well, we have to look at a pretty massive spiritual hierarchy to find out. The source text actually maps out his exact cosmic lineage. You have the central consciousness, and emanating from it are various distinct souls. King Rient Croud is positioned as what's called a branch soul. And get this, he's in some pretty heavy-hitting company. He's placed right alongside widely known historical and mythological figures like Gautama Siddhartha, the Buddha, and Hermes from Greek tradition. The text claims all of these figures are essentially different facets or expressions of one single supreme source. To really grasp this, we need to define that central source. In this framework, it's called El Cantare. The text posits that El Cantare is the supreme god of Earth. The name itself translates to the beautiful land of light Earth. And, according to the source, El Cantare has been responsible for guiding humanity since the very creation of the planet. So King Rient Croud wasn't just, a smart guy who figured things out on his own. The source positions him as a direct spiritual manifestation, a branch soul of the Earth's supreme deity, sent down 7,000 years ago to guide a specific civilization. Which brings us to part three, the ancient Andes and aliens. Let's travel back about 7,000 years and see what this branch soul actually did on Earth. The text uses some truly fascinating imagery to build this narrative. We aren't just talking about a thriving ancient city in the Andes. The source asserts that UFOs were actively hovering over the Incan Empire. I mean, think about that. During King Rient Croud's reign, his people weren't just worrying about harsh weather or neighboring tribes. They were dealing with extraterrestrial visitors. And importantly, the text notes that some of these aliens were malevolent. The king's primary job was to actively protect his people from these cosmic threats. So the text paints a picture of a really intense dual role. On one hand, you have an earthly king. The source details that his ancestors were actually high-ranking nobles and priests who fled the destruction of Atlantis. So he utilized lost Atlantean technology, specifically advanced mining and refining techniques, to build up his civilization in the mountains. But simultaneously, he was a cosmic priest. He acted as a literal judge regarding the aliens coming from the sky, discerning which extraterrestrials were benevolent and which were dangerous. It's this completely dual-layered administration, earthly logistics on one side, intergalactic border control on the other. Moving to part four, the teachings of the heart. Because seriously, how do you manage a population dealing with both standard earthly struggles and literal alien encounters? The source makes it clear that these teachings weren't just, nice sounding philosophies. They were highly specific, rigorous spiritual disciplines. Step one was to clear and make the mind transparent through dedicated meditation and prayer. Step two was using that transparent mind to literally enter a higher spiritual dimension. You see, the text notes that as populations grew, people naturally started forming factions and fighting over resources and beliefs. The king knew that a divided people couldn't survive natural disasters, let alone malevolent aliens. So these teachings were designed to elevate the people's consciousness completely out of that petty, combative mindset. There's a quote straight from the channeled message that I think hits the nail on the head. It says, "It was a unique civilization that developed while interacting with the universe to prevent the loss of human life." That was the entire goal. Everything he did, the Atlantean mining, the spiritual teachings, the alien judgments, was singularly focused on forging a peaceful society that could survive and thrive in harmony with immense unseen cosmic forces. It wasn't about conquest, it was about cosmic survival. Finally, we hit part 5, authority over alien exchange. Because according to the source material, this story absolutely did not end in the ancient Andes. According to this belief system, King Rient Croud currently exists as a ninth-dimensional being. He's this incredibly high-ranking spirit within the Earth's spiritual hierarchy today. And here is where it gets really wild, the boldest claim in the entire text. His role as a cosmic judge never ended. The source asserts that right now, in the present day, he holds absolute, ongoing diplomatic authority over all extraterrestrial exchange. If aliens want to interact with Earth, or if they want to migrate here, he is the one who controls that jurisdiction. He is presented as Earth's ultimate gatekeeper to the stars. So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to think about this. How does viewing ancient history through this kind of cosmic, extraterrestrial lens shift our understanding of human mythology and our future? When texts like this reframe ancient kings not just as rulers, but as intergalactic diplomats and fragments of a supreme earthly god holding a mystic key to the universe, it completely changes the scale of human history. Whether you view this as literal truth, a fascinating spiritual framework, or a profound modern mythology, it forces us to ask massive questions about our origins and who might be watching us from the sky. Thank you so much for joining me as we unpacked the teachings of this remarkable source material. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.